to today's episode, where we're diving into a topic that many of us struggle with: comparison. Whether it's scrolling through social media, seeing others succeed, or feeling like we're behind in life, the habit of comparing ourselves to others can drain our confidence and make us doubt our own journey. But here's the truth: every person has a unique path, and measuring yourself against others is not only unfair but also unnecessary. We often forget that what we see online and in daily life is only a fraction of someone's story. Their successes, achievements, and picture-perfect moments don't show the challenges, failures, and hard work behind the scenes. In this episode, we're going to break free from the cycle of comparison. We'll explore practical steps to shift your mindset, embrace your own growth, and build confidence in who you are. Comparison doesn't have to control your happiness. You have the power to focus on yourself, appreciate your progress, and recognize the value you bring to the world. So let's dive in and learn how to stop comparing ourselves to others and start living with confidence and gratitude. Recognizing that comparison is normal is the first step in overcoming it. As humans, it is natural to look at others and evaluate how we measure up. We do this in different areas of life, whether in school, at work, or in social situations. This tendency comes from our need to understand where we stand in relation to others. However, the problem arises when comparison turns into self-doubt or feelings of inadequacy. Instead of using it as motivation or inspiration, we allow it to diminish our confidence. It is important to remember that everyone has their own unique journey, their own struggles, and their own timeline for success. What we see from others is often just a small fraction of their reality, and we do not see the challenges they face behind the scenes. Instead of looking at someone else's achievements and feeling discouraged, we should use them as proof that growth and success are possible. The key is to shift our perspective and focus on our own personal development. Rather than asking why we are not where someone else is, we should ask how we can improve and work towards our own goals. Our only competition should be our past selves. If comparison makes us feel negative, then it is time to redirect that energy towards something more productive. Measuring our success against someone else's does not define our worth, and the sooner we learn to appreciate our own path, the more confident and fulfilled we will feel. Letting go of unhealthy comparison allows us to celebrate our progress, focus on our strengths, and truly embrace who we are. Social media is a highlight reel, and this is something we often forget when scrolling through endless posts and updates. People usually share only the best parts of their lives, the exciting moments, successes, vacations, and achievements. What we don't see are the struggles, failures, and ordinary moments that happen behind the scenes. When we compare ourselves to what we see online, it can feel like everyone else is thriving while we are falling behind, but the truth is, we are comparing our full reality to someone else's curated version of their life. No one shares their self-doubt, their disappointments, or their everyday struggles as openly as they share their victories. This is why it's so important to remind ourselves that social media doesn't represent the whole truth. Instead of letting it make us feel less than others, we can use it more intentionally. Curating our feed to follow accounts that inspire and uplift rather than create feelings of inadequacy can be a helpful step. Being mindful of how we use social media, understanding its limits and remembering that comparison based on it is often unrealistic, allows us to focus on our own journey rather than on filtered glimpses of someone else's. Shifting from comparison to inspiration is one of the most important mindset changes you can make to improve your confidence and sense of fulfillment. Many times when we see someone achieving something great, whether it is career success, personal growth, or accomplishments in areas we care about, we immediately compare ourselves to them and question our own progress. Instead of celebrating their success, we start focusing on what we lack or where we feel we are falling behind. This type of comparison can be damaging because it creates the illusion that success is a limited resource, as if someone else's achievement somehow makes our own goals less attainable. But in reality, success is abundant, and one person's progress does not take away from another's potential. The key is to reframe how you perceive others' accomplishments. Instead of thinking, "Why am I not there yet?" or "I'll never be as good as them," shift your thoughts to "What can I learn from their journey?" Successful people leave behind valuable lessons, habit strategies, and mindsets that contributed to their achievements. When we approach comparison with curiosity instead of self-doubt, we open ourselves up to growth. For example, if you admire someone's discipline, creativity, or ability to take risks instead of feeling discouraged by their progress, study their approach and see what elements you can incorporate into your own life. Another important thing to remember is that everyone's path is unique. You are not meant to follow someone else's timeline, and your own version of success might look completely different from theirs. When you focus on learning, rather than measuring yourself against others, you shift your energy from negativity to motivation. This mindset helps you celebrate not only your own progress, but also the success of others without it affecting your self-worth. Instead of comparing, find inspiration in the people who are ahead of you and use their stories as proof that growth and achievement are always possible for you too. The more you embrace this perspective, the more you will realize that your journey is yours alone, and it is unfolding at exactly the right pace. Focusing on your own progress is one of the most effective ways to break free from the cycle of comparison. Many times we fall into the trap of measuring our achievements against those of others, without taking a moment to recognize how far we have come. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, frustration, and even the false belief that we are not doing enough. However, the truth is that everyone has a different path, different challenges, and different circumstances, which makes comparison unfair and misleading. Instead of constantly looking outward and measuring your life against someone else's, it is important to turn your attention inward and focus on your own development. Take a moment to reflect on where you were a few months ago, a year ago, or even 5 years ago. What challenges have you faced? What lessons have you learned? What personal growth have you experienced? Chances are you have made progress in ways that you may not even realize. The problem is that when we compare ourselves to others, we often forget to acknowledge our own small victories. By shifting your focus from external validation to internal progress, you can start to see how much you have evolved over time. This process allows you to appreciate your own journey rather than constantly feeling like you are behind. One of the best ways to reinforce this mindset is by tracking your growth in tangible ways. Keeping a journal where you document your achievements, setting personal goals that challenge you to improve, and celebrating small wins are all great ways to recognize the progress you are making. It is not always about big accomplishments or major milestones. Sometimes growth is seen in the small things like overcoming a difficult situation, developing a new skill, or maintaining a habit that benefits your well-being. Another important aspect of focusing on your own progress is accepting that success looks different for everyone. Your version of success may not match someone else's, and that is perfectly okay. Life is not a race, and there is no universal timeline that everyone must follow. You might achieve your goals at a different pace than others, but that does not make your progress any less valuable. What matters most is that you are moving forward in a way that is true to your own aspirations and values. By embracing this perspective, you allow yourself to grow without the burden of unnecessary comparison. You gain confidence in your own path and start to trust the process, knowing that every step forward is meaningful. Instead of getting discouraged by someone else's achievements, you can take pride in your own journey and recognize that you are constantly evolving. When you focus on your progress rather than others' successes, you start to see how much you are truly capable of, and that alone is a reason to keep going. Avoiding unrealistic standards is essential for maintaining a healthy mindset and feeling confident in your own journey. Many times we set expectations for ourselves based on what we see others achieving without realizing that their success is built on factors we may not see: years of effort, unique opportunities, or even personal advantages that differ from ours. When we constantly compare ourselves to an unrealistic ideal, whether it is about career appearance, financial success, or personal growth, we end up chasing something that is not truly attainable in the way we imagine. This can lead to frustration and the feeling that no matter how hard we try, we are never enough. One of the biggest sources of unrealistic standards is social media and popular culture. Everywhere we look, we are bombarded with carefully curated versions of success, showing only the highlights while leaving out the struggles. A person's seemingly perfect life, flawless accomplishments, or rapid success can make us feel like we are behind, but the reality is that no one achieves greatness overnight, and success always comes with challenges that are often hidden from view. Instead of holding yourself to an ideal that may not even be real, it is important to set goals that reflect your abilities, passions, and circumstances. You are allowed to grow at your own pace, and your version of success does not have to match anyone else's. One way to let go of unrealistic standards is to remind yourself that perfection does not exist. Everyone, no matter how successful they appear, has struggles, insecurities, and moments of doubt. Recognizing this allows you to stop putting pressure on yourself to meet expectations that are not realistic or necessary. Focusing on progress rather than perfection will help you feel more fulfilled and allow you to appreciate the journey rather than constantly measuring yourself against an ideal. When you embrace the idea that success is personal and unique to each individual, you free yourself from the pressure of comparison and can focus on becoming the best version of yourself in a way that is authentic and meaningful. Practicing gratitude is a powerful way to shift your mindset from comparison to appreciation. When we focus too much on what we don't have or what others seem to have, we overlook the things in our own lives that bring us joy, fulfillment, and progress. Gratitude is not just about being thankful for the big things, it's also about recognizing the small moments, the daily wins, and the simple joys that make life meaningful. Taking time to appreciate what you already have helps redirect your attention away from what you think is missing. One of the best ways to build a habit of gratitude is through reflection. You can start by acknowledging 3 things you are grateful for every day. These could be anything: a kind conversation, a personal accomplishment, supportive friends, good health, or even the ability to keep moving forward despite challenges. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to focus more on positivity rather than comparison. Instead of looking at someone else's life and feeling like yours isn't good enough, gratitude allows you to see the richness of your own experiences. Another benefit of gratitude is that it helps reduce stress and boosts overall happiness. When you train yourself to look at what's good rather than what's lacking, you start feeling more content with your life as it is. It doesn't mean that you stop striving for success or personal growth, but rather that you find joy in the present while working toward the future. Recognizing your own achievements and appreciating the journey you are on makes it easier to move forward with confidence. When you focus on gratitude, you naturally shift your energy from unhealthy comparison to self-acceptance and appreciation for the life you are building. Celebrating your uniqueness is essential in learning to appreciate your own path rather than comparing it to others. Every individual has their own strengths, passions, and experiences that shape who they are. When we fall into the trap of comparison, we often overlook the qualities that make us special and instead focus on what we believe we lack. But the truth is, no one else has lived your exact journey, faced your specific challenges, or developed your unique perspective on life. Your experiences, talents, and personal qualities are what set you apart, and embracing them can help you build confidence and self-acceptance. One of the reasons people struggle with celebrating their uniqueness is the pressure to fit in or conform to societal standards. We are often told that success looks a certain way or that we must achieve specific milestones to be considered accomplished. However, the most fulfilling lives are built by those who embrace their individuality and follow their own paths rather than trying to meet someone else's expectations. Instead of thinking about how you compare to others, start focusing on what makes you special. What are your strengths? What do you enjoy? What values drive you? These aspects of yourself are worth celebrating because they define who you are beyond external achievements. When you begin to appreciate your uniqueness, you stop feeling the need to measure yourself against others. You realize that your journey is your own and that the best way to succeed is to embrace the qualities that make you different. The world doesn't need more people trying to be like everyone else. It needs people who are willing to bring their own ideas, perspectives, and creativity to the table. By celebrating who you are, you step into your power and build a life that reflects your true self rather than one shaped by comparison or external pressures. Limiting exposure to triggers is a crucial step in protecting your mental well-being and avoiding unnecessary comparison. Often, the things that make us feel inadequate or unworthy are the result of constant exposure to unrealistic portrayals of success, beauty, or happiness. Social media, advertisements, and even certain environments can reinforce the idea that we are not enough or that we should be doing more. While it's impossible to completely avoid comparison, we can control what we allow into our daily lives. One way to do this is by becoming more intentional about what content we consume. If certain social media accounts make you feel insecure or anxious rather than inspired, consider unfollowing them or setting limits on how often you engage with those platforms. Another approach is to be mindful of the conversations and people you surround yourself with. If you find that certain discussions or relationships often leave you feeling less confident, it may be time to set boundaries and prioritize interactions that uplift rather than diminish your self-worth. The key is to recognize which influences trigger negative feelings and make conscious adjustments to minimize their impact. When you create a healthier environment for yourself, you give yourself the space to focus on growth, appreciation, and self-acceptance rather than comparison and self-doubt. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is key to building confidence and maintaining a positive mindset. The people we spend time with have a significant impact on how we view ourselves and our progress. If we are constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, or unrealistic expectations, it becomes much harder to feel secure in our own journey. On the other hand, when we are around individuals who encourage, uplift, and genuinely want the best for us, we start to feel more motivated and confident in ourselves. Supportive people don't just celebrate our successes, they also help us navigate challenges, offer perspective when we are struggling, and remind us of our strengths when we forget them. These relationships foster a healthy environment where growth is encouraged rather than stifled by comparison or insecurity. It is important to be mindful of who we allow into our inner circle. If certain friendships or relationships make you feel drained, self-conscious, or inadequate, it may be time to reassess them. Prioritizing connections that inspire and empower you will create a space where you can thrive without the pressure of constantly measuring yourself against others. Building a support system also means offering encouragement to others in return. When we become a source of positivity for those around us, we strengthen bonds and create a cycle of mutual growth. Choosing to uplift rather than compete allows everyone to progress in their own way without the weight of unnecessary comparison. Ultimately, the people we surround ourselves with shape our mindset and influence how we feel about our own journey, so it is essential to cultivate relationships that bring out the best in us. Setting personal goals is an important step in shifting your focus away from comparison and towards self-improvement. When we don't have clear goals, it's easy to feel lost and start measuring ourselves against others. But when we define our own path, we create a sense of purpose that is entirely based on our own progress rather than someone else's achievements. Personal goals give us something to work toward, allowing us to track our growth and celebrate small victories along the way. The key to effective goal setting is making sure that your goals are realistic, meaningful, and aligned with your values. Instead of setting goals based on what others are doing, focus on what truly matters to you. What do you want to achieve? What skills do you want to develop? How do you want to grow in different areas of your life? When your goals come from within, they become a source of motivation rather than pressure. Breaking your goals into smaller steps is another important strategy. Instead of focusing on a distant achievement, consider the small actions you can take each day to move closer to your goal. This helps create momentum and makes progress feel attainable rather than overwhelming. Keeping a journal, tracking milestones, and rewarding yourself for improvements are great ways to stay motivated. Setting personal goals also helps you measure success in a way that is unique to you. When you define what success looks like based on your own standards, you stop feeling the need to compare yourself to others. Instead of worrying about how someone else is doing, you can focus on whether you are moving in the direction that feels right for you. The more intentional you are about setting and pursuing goals that reflect your desires and strengths, the more fulfilled and confident you will feel in your own journey. Embracing patience is essential in breaking free from the cycle of comparison and learning to appreciate your own journey. In a world that constantly pushes the idea of instant success and rapid progress, it can be frustrating to feel like things are moving slowly for you. However, true growth takes time, and every meaningful achievement is built on consistent effort and perseverance. When you compare yourself to others, you may feel pressured to rush your progress or question whether you are falling behind. But the reality is that success unfolds at different paces for everyone, and there is no single timeline that defines when you should reach certain milestones. Patience allows you to focus on long-term growth rather than becoming discouraged by temporary setbacks. Instead of feeling frustrated that you haven't reached your goals yet, shift your perspective toward appreciating the small steps you are taking each day. Every effort you make, no matter how small, contributes to your journey, and over time, those small steps add up to significant progress. A great way to practice patience is to remind yourself that your path is unique, and comparing it to someone else's will only take away from your ability to enjoy your own progress. Another important aspect of patience is learning to trust the process. Success, fulfillment, and personal development don't happen overnight, and the obstacles you face along the way are all part of your growth. The more you embrace patience, the more you allow yourself to focus on learning, improving, and appreciating the present moment instead of constantly feeling anxious about the future. Letting go of comparison and trusting that your own pace is the right pace for you will not only bring peace but also help you build confidence in your ability to achieve what you set out to do. Letting go of comparison is one of the most liberating things you can do for your personal growth and mental well-being. Many times, we don't even realize how much comparison affects us until we take a step back and assess how it shapes our thoughts, emotions, and self-perception. The truth is, comparison is often unnecessary and unproductive. It distracts us from our own journey and makes us focus on someone else's timeline, achievements, or qualities instead of appreciating our own. But the reality is that no two paths are the same, and constantly measuring ourselves against others only leads to frustration and self-doubt. One of the first steps in letting go of comparison is recognizing when it happens and understanding why it affects you. Are you comparing your career, appearance, relationships, or achievements to others? Are you looking at someone else's life and feeling like you're behind? By identifying these moments, you can begin to challenge the thoughts that make you feel inadequate. Instead of thinking that someone else's success diminishes yours, remind yourself that you are on your own journey and that their achievements do not take away from your potential. Another helpful strategy is to focus on what truly matters to you. What are your goals? What values drive you? What aspects of your life bring you happiness and fulfillment? When you start focusing more on yourself and less on external validation, the urge to compare naturally begins to fade. You realize that your journey is valuable in its own right, and you gain confidence in your ability to grow at your own pace. Practicing gratitude is also a powerful way to let go of comparison. When you take time to appreciate what you have, rather than focusing on what you think you lack, you cultivate a mindset of contentment. You start to see how much you have accomplished, how much you have learned, and how many meaningful experiences have shaped you. This helps shift your focus from what others have to what is already present in your life. Letting go of comparison is not about ignoring ambition or stopping yourself from striving for more. It's about embracing your own path and trusting that where you are right now is exactly where you are meant to be. Instead of looking around and wondering how you measure up, look within and recognize your strengths, progress, and uniqueness. When you do this, you free yourself from the pressure of trying to keep up with others and allow yourself to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, on your own terms. Embracing self-acceptance is the final and most important step in freeing yourself from comparison and building confidence in your own journey. Self-acceptance is about recognizing your value, appreciating your strengths, and acknowledging your imperfections without judgment. It is understanding that you are enough as you are, even while striving for growth and improvement. Many times, comparison makes us feel as though we need to be more successful, more talented, more accomplished. But the truth is, your worth is not defined by how you measure up to others. It is determined by your character, your efforts, and the way you embrace your own path. One of the key aspects of self-acceptance is learning to be kind to yourself. Often, we are our own harshest critics, constantly focusing on what we believe we lack rather than celebrating what we have. By shifting your mindset and practicing self-compassion, you allow yourself to recognize your progress, even in the smallest ways. Accepting yourself does not mean settling or refusing to grow. It means embracing the reality that you are allowed to evolve at your own pace without the pressure of comparison. Another important part of self-acceptance is letting go of unrealistic expectations. Life is unpredictable, and perfection is unattainable. The more you accept your unique strengths and imperfections, the more confident and fulfilled you will feel. You don't need to fit a specific mold or live up to someone else's standards. Your path is yours alone, and the best thing you can do is trust it. When you fully embrace self-acceptance, comparison loses its power over you. You stop looking at others to validate your worth and start appreciating who you are and how far you have come. You recognize that success, happiness, and fulfillment are deeply personal and cannot be measured against someone else's achievements. The more you embrace your individuality, celebrate your progress, and trust in your journey, the more empowered you become to live authentically and confidently without the weight of comparison holding you back. Developing self-confidence is essential for breaking free from comparison and fully embracing your unique journey. Confidence is not about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about trusting yourself, valuing your strengths, and believing in your ability to grow. One of the biggest barriers to confidence is the habit of measuring your worth against others. When we constantly compare ourselves, we allow self-doubt to take over, making it difficult to recognize our own abilities. However, building confidence is not about proving that you are better than someone else. It's about becoming secure in who you are and appreciating what you bring to the world. A key step in developing confidence is shifting your focus from external validation to internal assurance. Instead of looking for approval from others, start acknowledging your own accomplishments and progress. Celebrate the small wins, the lessons learned, and the resilience you have shown in difficult moments. The more you recognize your own growth, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate challenges and work toward your goals. Another important part of self-confidence is learning to silence negative self-talk. We often criticize ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend, but this inner dialogue can be incredibly damaging. Practicing self-compassion and reframing negative thoughts can help build a mindset that supports confidence rather than undermines it. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," try reminding yourself, "I am capable, and I am learning every day." Confidence also grows through action. Taking small steps toward your goals, trying new experiences, and stepping out of your comfort zone help reinforce the belief that you are capable. You don't need to have complete certainty before making a move. Confidence develops through practice and persistence. The more you build a strong foundation of self-belief, the less comparison will affect you. When you trust in your abilities and value your unique strengths, you naturally stop feeling the need to measure yourself against others. Instead, you become focused on your own path, embracing growth and celebrating who you are without the pressure of external expectations. Reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth is a crucial mindset shift that allows you to navigate challenges with resilience rather than discouragement. Many times, when we encounter obstacles, failures, or disappointments, our first reaction is frustration or self-doubt. We may feel like we are not good enough, that we are falling behind, or that we will never succeed. But setbacks are a natural part of any journey, and instead of seeing them as roadblocks, we can view them as valuable lessons that help us improve. Every challenge presents an opportunity to learn. When things don't go as planned, take a moment to reflect rather than react negatively. What went wrong? What could be done differently next time? What lessons can be taken from the experience? These questions shift your focus from seeing failure as an endpoint to recognizing it as a stepping stone toward growth. Some of the most successful individuals have faced major setbacks before achieving greatness. Their ability to adapt, learn, and continue pushing forward despite obstacles is what ultimately led them to success. Another important aspect of reframing setbacks is developing patience and self-compassion. No one succeeds without facing difficulties along the way. Instead of being harsh on yourself when things don't go perfectly, remind yourself that setbacks are not permanent. They are moments of learning that will help you refine your skills, make better decisions, and ultimately achieve your goals. Embracing this perspective allows you to approach challenges with confidence, knowing that every experience, even the difficult ones, contributes to your growth and progress. Overcoming the habit of comparison is a journey toward self-acceptance, confidence, and inner peace. It requires shifting your mindset from measuring yourself against others to embracing your own growth and individuality. By recognizing that comparison is normal but often unproductive, you can learn to focus on your unique path, your personal progress, and the qualities that make you special. Letting go of unrealistic standards, practicing gratitude, and surrounding yourself with supportive people are all essential steps in freeing yourself from self-doubt. Setting personal goals that align with your values and trusting the process of growth will help you cultivate patience and self-confidence. Instead of dwelling on setbacks, reframing them as opportunities to learn will allow you to move forward with resilience. Ultimately, self-acceptance is the key to breaking the cycle of comparison. When you appreciate who you are, celebrate your journey, and recognize your worth beyond external validation, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. Your path is yours alone, and your progress is valuable, no matter how different it may look from someone else's. By embracing this mindset, you create a life rooted in authenticity, fulfillment, and genuine happiness.